Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. Round of 16, we're in Group B this evening, where we've already had a bit of a surprise, frankly. Let's check in with a bracket and show you exactly what you've missed if you weren't with us earlier. VortiX and ThorZaIN, the two men that came through in the upper bracket, will now play off for the first place, or rather the third place, in the round of 8, if you still follow me. We went through yesterday. We also have Baby Knight and MC still in the competition and going head-to-head in a PvP, which will be after this game, to stay alive in the competition. And Grubby, fantastic game from ThorZaIN to win that 2-0. Were you as surprised as the rest of us?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I thought he was probably going to lose 2-0, but he didn't. He won 2-0, and it was quite dominating. Now, the games weren't exactly a kind of game where they constantly fight and you get tested in every whichever way, your macro, your pressure resistance, and your micro and everything, and your timings. It was just like fairly straightforward. But what I didn't know is that ThorZaIN mastered that kind of straightforward SCV Viking, Ghost type of play that much already. Now, his strongest point has always been his micromanagement. And we saw that with those EMPs landing on MC. It was quite a flawless game from ThorZaIN. Can't really complain too much about anything he did. So, looking really good. And it's really good to see the people who were very good early on in StarCraft, as ThorZaIN was, to be doing good again. That kind of consistency gives me a fuzzy, warm feeling.
Nice. That's what I like to hear. So, we're going up for our winners game now. It's VortiX, who's been on a real hot streak, and you know, Kalaris mentioned earlier on, he's the only man that's won every single round of 32 match 4-0 in all 3 seasons. He's also one of only 3 men to make it through to the round of 16 every single season, so consistency is there, but we've never quite seen him win that big tournament that he's always almost threatened to do. I mean, second last year in WCS Europe against Stefano, but that's as close as he's got. Do you feel like maybe he's turned a corner now, and maybe he's actually starting to look like a really, really top-end player?
It certainly looked like it, but I still need to be convinced a little bit more by him. He's always been the 2nd or 3rd best Zerg in Europe. And if you're not the 1st best Zerg in Europe, then you're probably not going to be winning the tournaments because the other guys are there. We've had Nurcho, who is very close in skill to, and we've had Stefano, which is very close in skill to. And it has always looked like on his best days, he's as good or sometimes a little better than them. But on his worst days, he's not quite good enough to take the cake. But looking very strong here. I have confidence in him, and more importantly, it looks like he has confidence in himself.
Yeah, he was definitely super confident earlier on, wasn't he? All the fist pumps and fighting for Spain and what have you. I mean, he does have the whole of the country behind him, but likewise, the king in the north, the former king in the north, also has the whole of Sweden behind him right now, but the last Swede alive. So his chances in this match, how do you measure them?
I was going to say lower initially, but now that he is in the winner bracket with that kind of good game, and he's shown some brilliance in this matchup, I'm going to say they're not going to be much worse than 30% win chance, and maybe higher than that. But in the end, just a useless prediction like that is nothing compared to what he has potentially planned for this match.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Grubby. We're going to get some analysis from the good man after this particular match. But let's get things rocking and rolling, ladies and gents. This is the winner's game in Group B. It's the King in the North versus the Spanish Gladiator. It's time to join our commentators for this one. It's Kalaris and Apollo. Take it away, guys.
Thanks very much, guys, as we now get into the 3rd series of the night. And it's a big one because it decides who moves on to the round of 8. And one of half of this, I expected to be there. Not so much the other one.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there, but ThorZaIN really given a good performance today. A performance, as you say, not too many people expected to see. But now let's, all together, what are we going to see from him going up against VortiX? And if anybody can remember back to VortiX's stats when we were looking at his profile, he had a very high win rate. And that will definitely play a factor in this series.
Oh, yes, he does. Against Terrans in the WCS system thus far, sitting at 89% win ratio against Terrans. Super scary to play against.
Very good.
Likewise, ThorZaIN, though, he's had a little bit of a change-up when it comes up to against Zergs. In the previous Challenger series season, he went 0-2 versus Nurcho, 0-2 versus Ret. Not very good, but in round of 32, double 2-0 KOs against Slivko, which is pretty good in itself. But VortiX, man, he is a Terran killer.
He really is a Terran killer, and already getting rid of Polar Knight here. And I wouldn't be surprised if VortiX wanted to play on the older maps, Akalon, Belshire, Derelict. Maybe not Akalon. I'm not too sure. It really depends on his personal preference, of course, when it comes down to the vetoes. But I'm expecting a superb game here from VortiX to ace his group, maybe be able to go 4-0 overall and go through in first place. ThorZaIN, though, anything is possible, as we just witnessed against MC.
Yeah. VortiX not only looking to advance on, but looking to defend that Mao's pride, as ThorZaIN was bought out by EG money all that time ago. But VortiX, well, he's got rid of that Polar Knight, as he said. And from here on, we just have a few more vetoes. Frost goes away. And then, well, if we saw Yonsu fall, then it's right back on to those old maps.
Well, let's find out what that last veto is. Derelict Watcher. All right, so
okay.
Akalon Waste, Belshire, and Yonsu are the 3 maps between these 2 players. The order is going to be now determined in which way we play it, from first, second, and third. I like these 3 maps here. Derelict Watcher, getting rid of it for VortiX, I don't mind, actually. If you think about the way that Derelict Watcher's set up, taking a 4th base is quite far out your way.
It's tough.
And then if you want to take a 5th base, which a lot of Zergs obviously will want to get to eventually, that's even further away. And it really is going to be difficult to be able to control be able to control the units, and especially because on a map like Derelict Watcher, eventually, if a Zerg player wants to get to the late game, Broodlords are not so good on this map. Very difficult to make them useful during the super late game because of how wide open that middle of the map is.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, because a lot of those maps, just in general, that were vetoed, just had the same trends in terms of when you take a 4th base, wow, that's really, really far away. So dealing with those attacks on multiple fronts can be a bit difficult. Akalon Waste, Belshire Vestige, and then Yonsu will be our map pool here. And these maps, just in general, have a bit more of a, well, obviously on the first 2, these guys have a lot of experience on, but it's easier to defend those bases. It's easier to get them up and running. VortiX will feel comfortable, but likewise, ThorZaIN will feel pretty comfortable on these in comparison to others.
Yeah, and it really comes down to, because Terran don't really have to play that innovative when they play against any race. They just need to make sure that they're playing very solid. So when we look at ThorZaIN here today, who is coming in with his stats a lot lower than the majority of players, he hasn't had the best time this year in the World Championship Series. But if we just relate to the previous game he played against MC, he did play fundamentally a solid game.
Yes.
When it comes to playing versus, Terran versus Zerg, if he still plays that fundamentally solid game, hitting his supply depots, maxing out as fast as possible, and he just follows the standard Terran versus Zerg style, with his good micro on top of things, then I think we could all get surprised in this matchup.
We could. ThorZaIN has the ability to do it, but as I previously alluded to, when we were casting him before, his stats have just been completely middle of the road, and I only just now remembered the exact Series 1 to Series lost across the WCS, and it was 20 Series lost and 20 Series won. So perfect, up until just before, where he's able to get that 21 wins and 20 losses. But then we have VortiX, and oh boy, that's some good TVZ.
That's remarkable, Terran versus Zerg here. He really has gone on a monster roll in this year in the World Championship Series. There is obviously a chance for every single player here to make it to BlizzCon, whether it be true and realistic or not, it doesn't matter, because there is still a chance. For example, if VortiX was to win this season and even, did you know a 3rd place finish in a 4-player group at season finals is the same points as a Tier 1 first place?
That's
750 points just for finishing 3rd out of 4 in your group. MC picked up 750 points from attending the Season 2 finals. VortiX is, I know, he's not super high up when it comes to the WCS point system. He's only on about 1,100 points or along those lines. He's obviously got a lot of work. Likewise as ThorZaIN. But aside from that, here's the first map that we're going to be playing on, Akalon Wastes.
Yeah, it's a map where, obviously, a lot of people, very used to this by now, used to playing out on ladder, used to seeing it in a lot of pro games, easy to establish bases. And from that point on, that's why we see some, big macro-intensive, very, very awesome games as well in this matchup. ZVT is that matchup that a lot of people look to for a huge amount of enjoyment. And with these two guys, they're both back-to-schoolers. They're reaping the rewards of, you know, just being able to chill out for a little bit, get some learning done, and then apply it to StarCraft, I guess.
So just to, you know that 89% win rate that
Yes.
VortiX has. You know, a couple of people were asking for more specific on that. You know, how many games is it over? To be exact, it is 8 wins and 1 loss.
Yes.
In series, which is pretty good. 8 wins and 1 loss, giving him that win percentage here in this matchup. I think that VortiX is still, despite ThorZaIN playing well in that previous game, gonna come into this
As the favorite.
as the favorite.
Yeah.
But I really think that just like we saw, we were surprised against MC, that can happen again.
Yeah, there is certainly opportunity here for surprises from ThorZaIN, because he's brought it once. Why not bring it a second time as we get into game number 1 between the 2 victors. One looking to move on to the round of 8 here in this best of 3. As we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner are Red Terran, representing evil geniuses as well as Sweden. Give it up for ThorZaIN. And down to the bottom right, in the blue, as our Blue Zerg, representing Mouse Sports as well as Spain. Give it up for VortiX. It's almost as if the colors should have been switched around.
You could say that.
Yeah.
It's one way to look at this game.
All right, well, as we said before, Akalon Wastes is our first map, and ThorZaIN here, I'm curious as to what he has in store for us, because, you know, VortiX is the kind of guy that, you know, likes a lot of, you know, Ling, Bane, Muta mid-games, but at the same time can mix in some good aggression. We've seen a lot of roach attacks from him, and ThorZaIN, hello, a bit more of a macro focus early on.
Yeah, I'm going to open up Command Center first. The 2 openings for Terran players to choose from in this matchup is Command Center first or a Reaper expand. And him going for the Command Center first here. Unfortunately, you obviously won't give him any Reapers to use in conjunction with Hellions later on, but is obviously going to set him up a little bit more powerful. To be honest, you don't even need to put the Command Center in the wall. You can, it's safer, but against VortiX, who is going to play a greedy stand himself, knowing that Command Center first is so popular, even having a drone scout to see it, is already up to 16 supply, is going to throw a 17 supply. Usually, the standard build for a Zerg player is 15 hatchery and 15 spawning pool in case there was going to be a 2 barracks. He gets his spawning pool down to be able to deal with it. But in this regard, he went up to 17. And obviously, that means his spawning pool is a lot later, his defense is non-existent. It's worked out.
Yep, he gets a little bit more of an economical kind of standing here in game number 1. The reactor, the gas will follow up here for ThorZaIN as well as VortiX. So he's wanting speed out pretty quick.
Yeah, ThorZaIN's gas is completely normal with his build here, to be able to get towards the factory and reactor here. But VortiX on the other side of things didn't necessarily need to open up with gas. He has chosen to, which will give him the options of getting Zergling speed early, does give him the option to go for a Roach Warren, but it's not the fastest of gases, so I wouldn't be expecting a Roach Warren early from him. It would be a little bit delayed here. So I'm expecting Zergling speed, then maybe out of gas for a little bit here. Obviously, aggression's definitely a possibility, but we'll see.
And that's one of the things that VortiX built his ZVT on, was really good waves of aggression. It's kind of subsided a little bit more in Heart of the Swarm because of the fact that Widow Mines are now incorporated very heavily into that, and it makes it harder to actually work out. But the Roach Warren is already on the way.
So it's not the fastest of Roach Warrens, but still can be just as deadly.
Yeah.
The gas was taken down, what was it? So it's 17 supply for the spawning pool, and then the gas thrown down at roughly 16, 17 after that. So it's not the fastest, but overall he does still have similar options. One thing to note though, ThorZaIN, usually in the games that we've seen him play in Terran vs Zerg, has had really good defense.
Yeah.
If you can predict that VortiX likes to use these roach plays, and why can't ThorZaIN, especially knowing that a gas has been taken so early on, especially when we add the fact that the drone saw Command Center first and there was no real big reason to take gas.
The 3 roaches already on the way. Are we going to have the good old counting game that we had yesterday? We're up to 6, and he's going to go over to 7. Any more?
Yeah, he may just want to spend as much gas as he can here before he gets supply blocks, so...
Yeah, so it's a lot of powerful aggression. We're up to 9 now. And will he go for a 10th? Yes, he will. He is going for a 10th. So that's a lot of power behind this. He's going to get a lot of SCVs, but he does have to make up some room for this. This comes at the sacrifice of quite a bit of economy.
I wonder if we're going to see mech here. Anyway, I'll come back to that after. Just the barracks placement is really awkward for me at this point. Okay, no, it does have a tech. I thought it couldn't have a tech lab on the side of it there. But okay, so forget what I just said. The wall is there, but it's going to come down to how many SCVs are killed off. The Hellions are going to see it, but obviously it's not going to speed anything up that's in the production right now.
Yeah, the tech lab, being added on. Oh, he loses a Hellion as well. Not so good.
Mistake.
Trying to crank out one of these Marauders. That's very important to keep this held off.
All right, so here comes the balance of repairing this bunker and keeping his SCVs alive.
Oop, nice micro. Keeps a Roach alive. On the other side of things, does a VortiX. And, doing quite a bit of damage as well. Keeps the second Roach alive. And that Marauder certainly needs to be out very quickly. One of them does
get it.
Oh, yeah, he couldn't actually get in. There was an SCV in there for a second.
Yeah, good balance so far from ThorZaIN. Oh, the bunker's gone.
That's bad. That's really bad. That Marauder falls very, very quickly, as do the Marines. There's really not that many units out here for ThorZaIN. VortiX, there you go. Yeah. GG.
Was not meant to let that bunker die.
No.
So what we saw there was the SCVs going back and forth. What he's looking to do is minimize, obviously, the SCV deaths, but also keep the bunkers alive. If the bunker stayed alive there, the game would have gone on. Yes. Very simply, upon losing that, they lost the Marauder, lost the Hellions, was going to lose the Marines, game would have been over, or at least would have had a massive, massive advantage.
But as you said, that balance just didn't work out for ThorZaIN. The over-eagerness to keep the SCVs so safe meant that his entire game plan wasn't safe, as he does let that die. So now, well, I think after a game like that, ThorZaIN just says, yeah, my mistake, game number 2, whatever, clean slate.
Belshir Vestige would be the next map here that we're going to be going over to. So he may decide to open up the same, but he may also decide to go over to the second build that he has on offer, which is the Reaper Expand. I'm not too sure which one he'll pick, obviously. It's going to be down to ThorZaIN. But in an ideal world, if he didn't make mistakes, such as losing the Hellion out in the middle, if he didn't let that bunker die, I think that he very well could have stayed in that game and played it from a decent position.
Yeah. I mean, he had the third command center going down, right? So he had a lot of economy behind that if he were to stabilize. Losing SCVs at that point, yes, you will lose a few, guaranteed. But having 3 command centers worth of production behind that to then ramp it back up afterwards is not too bad a situation to be in for ThorZaIN. I would say that I have to kind of come back to what you were saying with the opportunity for a Reaper expand here and say, yeah, that's possible. Belshir Vestige is a good map for it.
All right, well, we'll see what he's going to choose here as we do get ready to load into this next map. But VortiX now is just 1 game away from making it to the round of 8. And for him, I think that's quite a big deal.
He looks so confident.
Yeah, he should be.
There's no air of nervousness, no kind of nothing there. He just.
For me, he was my number 1 in this group.
Yeah, likewise. He's looked good. I am pegging him to do well in the whole season. Never mind once he gets into the brackets. But now, getting into game number 2 here, ThorZaIN, after a little bit of a odd defeat, trying to bring it back here in game number 2 as we have Duke spawning up in the top left-hand corner. Red Terran representing evil geniuses as well as Sweden. Give it up for ThorZaIN. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Pipe, pipe, pipe. And spawn down to the bottom right. Blue is currently 1 game up, 1 game away from advancing on to the round of 8. Representing Mouse Sports as well as Spain. Give it up for VortiX. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I think that's Grubby making that noise.
I think so as well.
It's really weird of him.
I've never pegged him as a guy like that. But
he's not a really whooper, but
no.
He seemed to be one.
Yeah. Been driven a little bit crazy hanging around us for a while, I guess.
Happens to the best of them.
All right, well, indeed, we are going to have another command center first here.
Yep, so he's just going to go back to his same build. With VortiX, he currently is going to drone scout again. So if he sees the same opening, there's 0 reason not to open up the same. There's actually 0 reason.
Yeah.
If you look at it and be like, all right, well, I mean, why would you not? Is the big question here, unless he feels that ThorZaIN can do a better defense.
Yeah, I mean, unless ThorZaIN does something really strange and out of the ordinary and adds on, barracks before factory or something like that, the defenses there for him are going to be pretty much exactly the same, right?
He can't do that.
Exactly.
He actually can't do that. Because then what he ends up doing is blind countering the attack, and if VortiX didn't do it, which is also another possibility,
leaves
then
himself
he's
behind.
very, very far behind
Yeah.
if VortiX was just drone up an upgrade. We do see the command center lower ground, which I think is the better decision than to build it on the high ground. Is VortiX really going to go for an early spawning pool? No, not really, which he could have done in game number 1.
He only ever really does that on Whirlwind whenever we see VortiX go for that. But
Yeah.
seen it a few times in WCS so far. But now we have just that expansion going to be finishing in a little bit here. VortiX going to run on home with that.
Yeah.
And a little bit of gas on the way for ThorZaIN.
And VortiX has decided not to take the gas, which I think is the correct decision coming into game number 2. Because he knows, and I think a lot of other Terran player knows, that if ThorZaIN hadn't have made mistakes, then he probably would have been in okay shape. In this regard, VortiX is saying, well, I'll just take map number 1 as a cheeky, easy win.
Exactly.
And then is just going to play his normal game from here.
Yeah, and we have the double queen production on the way for VortiX. I would love to see him go up to 4 queens just to keep those injects going while spreading that creep out into the middle of the map as well. And again, aside from VortiX being an absolute threat in the earlier stages of the game, his macro game is very good as well. So if you allow that creep spread to get going from a player like VortiX, he's going to use it to the best of his ability.
Well, that's one of the strongest things about a good Zerg player, that they're able to play 2 different styles,
Yeah.
aggression and the normal style, because that obviously makes you much more dangerous. He picks up an easy victory like he did in game number 1 and can easily switch back to what he knows and how to play best.
Now, ThorZaIN, how is he going to react to all of what can confront him here? He's already starting the wall, keeping that SCV there, making sure that he's going to be airtight for anything that his opponent wants to throw to him early on. But as I said before, 2 queens on the way again for VortiX. Most of his mind is kind of geared towards what looks like defense at this point.
Yeah. I mean, this is just proper standard so far. ThorZaIN's gone in, seen the lack of gases, will absolutely be looking to throw down the 3rd command center. I really don't think he'd be trying to do anything, funky, because this is arguably one of his best possible moves to get into the round of 8, right? Because if he loses this, then there are 2 very hungry other players in the lower bracket, which makes things very difficult for ThorZaIN.
And not only are they hungry, but they've also witnessed what ThorZaIN can do against Protoss if given room. And MC, we saw him during the round of 32 actually adapt so well from seeing his opponent play against another Protoss to then just smashing through before even giving his opponent that opportunity. So that's a very, very scary thing for ThorZaIN to go up against in the later stages if he falls down to that low bracket.
Look at VortiX though. He decided to get Zergling speed, and sometimes Zerg players skip Zergling speed to get a faster 2-2 upgrade, 1-1 upgrade, sorry. But in this regard, he's decided to get Zergling speed straight away, which is kind of normal as well sometimes, but he's also thrown down the Roach one, which is the unusual part of this build. So what we're probably going to be seeing is a Roach Baneling attack together as one. So he's going to try to hit ThorZaIN very, very hard. If ThorZaIN somehow can feel this out, this is also technically holdable.
Is one thing for ThorZaIN to look for is kind of like evolution chambers. If he doesn't see any, for example, then that could be
already
a tip.
seen the evolution chambers, not in the wall off, which is one normal thing to see.
Yeah.
But so far, the Queens have pushed these Hellions back. There's already Lings slipped to the top right-hand side, and to be honest, they're going to morph Banelings really, really fast on the other side of the map. And then the Roaches are going to stream across. ThorZaIN's already building Widow Mines, though, which is actually kind of nice. After 6 Hellions, Widow Mine production beginning nice and early will help out. But will it be enough here? ThorZaIN's got no information whatsoever. He's on the Zelnaga Tower.
He's going for double engineering base as well. So
he went to the left-hand side of the Zelnaga Tower, not the right. If he'd gone to the right, he probably would have seen the Roaches slip out. So he gets an even later reaction to them what he could have had here.
Oh dear, these Hellions need to make something happen. Just something. Like.
So he sees no drones down the third. Maybe that's a bit of a giveaway here. He didn't see a Queen there either. He's seen kind of nothing, but there's no additional bunkers. There's nothing coming down. A couple of Widow Mines are going to burrow naturally here. But so far, ThorZaIN, without any information, still just sitting on the Zelnaga Tower. He's seen nothing.
Oh, these Widow Mines, they're going to have to do a ton of work here for ThorZaIN once this hits. VortiX, select the supply block. This is going to slow him down a bit, but actually it's just
he knows
not.
Now.
He's going to go.
He knows now, but it may be too late. We'll see how the detonation is. Just on Zerg, the Banelings break the bunker, and VortiX is in.
Really good control by VortiX. He pulled those back. There you go. GG. It was just enough. He pulled those Banelings back, knowing that the Widow Mines were present. Let the Zerglings soak it up. Quick 2-0 for VortiX.
Guys, that was, as we can say, from hero to zero, pretty fast from ThorZaIN. After beating MC 2-0, just getting pushed to the side here. 2-0 by VortiX. 2 well-executed, aggressive strategies made VortiX just look like the real hero here.
Yeah, and VortiX powers on through like a lot of us anticipated. He's looking really, really good this season and could do a lot of damage, as I said before, in the brackets, depending on who goes through.
This is just, some may say, an expected first place for VortiX here. But I don't think too many people thought he'd be playing up against ThorZaIN in the winners match.
No.
So after we saw how this shaped up, I think a lot of people thought that VortiX would be able to beat ThorZaIN. But whatever the case, he's the first player in Group B, joins our other 2 players through Target and Stardust, and we have 3 so far through into the round of 8.
We do. 2 Zergs, actually, already there out of the 4 Zergs in the round of 16, I believe.
Yes.
So not too bad for the Zergies.
Zergs in balance. First place twice in a row.
Doing all right for themselves, gotta say. Very, very impressive stuff. And that leaves us with 3 players left. That leaves us with ThorZaIN and the 2 Protosses. Thankfully for ThorZaIN, he only has Protoss to go up against. But as I said before, there is that mentality of, they've already seen my Protoss games, my against Protoss games. How are they going to adapt to me? What are they going to do? And all of this is going through ThorZaIN's mind whilst the Protoss battle it out for that last spot.
Yeah, all right, well, that's it for us for now. And it's time to hear some words from VortiX, our first place finisher from Group B.
Thanks very much. Yes, with VortiX, and you promised a 2-0, you delivered a 2-0, and it was really fast as well.
Well, I mean, when I said I was going to win 2-0, I didn't really believe it. Like, I was just joking. But yeah, it turned out very well. I kind of didn't think the best of 3 would go like this, but I improvised a bit in my games. I thought I would play macro before starting, but then in every map I was like, oh, maybe I could use this. You know, if I win the first game, then maybe I will choose second too. And it worked pretty well. Yeah,
you were very aggressive in both games. What was your mindset going into that first map? Were you thinking I'll take risks map 1 and it won't matter too much? Maybe I'll get 2 more shots at him?
Well, I mean, I think ThorZaIN is maybe a bit greedy sometimes versus Zerg, and I was like, maybe if he doesn't open like Reaper in first game, then I will try to all-in him, and then if it works, I will keep doing it. But I mean, when I was going into the first game, I wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna lean for sure. I was just waiting to know if he was gonna play Reaper or he was gonna play a bit more greedy with command first and so on, and then I decided my strategy, and yeah, it went pretty well.
Yeah, second map. Was that just you were just like, okay, I've got 2 maps that I can win now, and I'm just gonna go all in and see what he does?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was very sure that once he spotted that I was not playing gas opening, then I knew that he was gonna play very greedy, and yeah, I just kind of tricked him a bit, and I went for an all-in still, and yeah, worked pretty well.
I know you don't believe too much in curses, but you've actually become the first player to break the WCS Europe curse, which has afflicted players all the way through the first 2 seasons. No player has ever managed to get to the round of 8 that previously managed it. You've become the first. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I can break another curse and be the first Zerg to win one too.
Wow, fighting talk. Thank you very much, VortiX. Congratulations to him. He has made it through as our 3rd player to reach the quarterfinals in WCS Europe Season 3. Who joins him? Well, we've got a couple more matches to find out, but before we get there, let's break down that very, very quick 2-0 win by VortiX with Grubby.
Yeah, that was a pretty short and merciless series here from VortiX against ThorZaIN. Many people won't be surprised, perhaps, to see VortiX going 2-0-2-0, just as he did in the first phase of this tournament in the round of 32. For ThorZaIN, it's a little bit of a cold shower after a hot start. And he will drop down to that last match to see if he can go up against MC or Baby Knight to still secure his spot in the round of 8. For VortiX, it was clean sailing, and it kind of compounded itself here in the second game. In the first game was pretty straightforward with a roach attack, killed the bunker, killed too many SCVs, and just broke through. And obviously, I'm not as much of a TVZ specialist as I would be for a Protoss matchup, but that kind of roach attack, sometimes it just wins. Actually, Targa did it yesterday, that kind of roach attack, and it can sometimes just win. And I don't know if it's exactly how the builds line up, or if it's like you gotta see it coming and do this and this and this, but it happens. StarCraft 2, merciless. Now, here in the second game, Roach Warren and Baneling Nest coming up. Of course, telltale signs that it's gonna be a big Roach Bane attack. What does the Terran have to do to deal with this? I'm not going to say something obvious like, well, he should be going for siege tanks and, you know, fortify his base a lot, because it's like too easy. That's like saying he can see into the future, that he knows exactly what's going to happen. Like, he should always make siege tanks part of his army, because if you're doing that and the opponent is rushing for Mutalisks, you're in trouble also. So let's assume that he can work with what he has. He can row with the ores that he has, right? So he's got Hellions. Goal number 1 for Hellions is Crypt Tumor Denial, and he's doing that. But in doing so, is he maybe over-focusing on these tumors? He's just concentrating his mind about this and thinking about his macro. Now, secondary goal for the Hellions, if you're not going to commit with them to kill some drones, is to see any attacks coming. And if we fast forward the replay a little bit, eventually that attack is moving out. There's the first Zerglings coming, and that's not too odd yet. But there's some roaches here. Hellions are camping at the tower, and they're going again along the left side. Now, of course, it could have gone the other way. The Hellions could have gone on the right side, and then the roaches going on the left. But just because he has shown his presence earlier on in the left again, to go to the same place again, becomes kind of like a pattern. Maybe it's like... maybe VortiX will think like, I want to move to the right, because that's where the Hellions were last time I saw them. And now the Hellions are camping, and if we pause the game here, those Hellions spent quite a bit of time at the Zanaga Watchtower, right? And now they're coming back as he realizes it. There's a few things you can do. This attack is very difficult to hold without siege tanks. It's just very difficult. ThorZaIN was playing greedy, but you could say that necessarily you must play TVZ in a greedy fashion. Happy, he didn't play that greedy in his TVZ yesterday, and he kind of paid the price against Targa, because he was so committed to doing massive amounts of damage. So greedy, I think, is definitely the right way to do it, but you gotta have eagle's eyes to see anything coming. Few things you could do in this position. Maybe don't get the refineries yet, save some money, maybe some more bunkers, as many Widow Mines as possible, and also trying to use the Hellions to slow down the attack. Poke a few times from the left, poke a few times from the right, and from whichever way. Try to kill some Banelings, try to kill some Zerglings. But they're coming a bit late to the party. SCV sees it now, and now it's trouble already. It is questionable to see at this time if there's still anything that ThorZaIN can do. But let's take a look at what he was doing. Now the bunkers are coming. If they had started a bit earlier, that would definitely help. But that's hindsight, right? It's just an unfortunate happenstance for ThorZaIN, and at this point, there isn't much he can do, and he knows it. If we just take a look at the units that he has left at this time, at the units tab, 4 Marines. 4 Marines and 4 Widow Mines. So it's not like he left too early. The wall was broken, and he didn't have anything to stop VortiX. So VortiX, aggressive player. ThorZaIN played exceedingly greedy with a little bit lack of scouting. And this match wasn't that back and forth. ThorZaIN goes down, and VortiX, easy sailing. So that was the little analysis for me. And now we'll go over to Paul for our next piece of content.
Thank you very much, Grubby. Yes, nice little bit of analysis, he says. He's so modest. So, fantastic game from VortiX. He goes through to the round of 8, to the quarterfinals, which we played on the 5th and the 6th of October 2013 for the round of 8 in Season 3 WCS Europe. We are going to take a very quick break in a moment. Before we get there, we thought we'd check in with some of the memes that you've been producing. Some of the pictures, been very fun. Let's throw the first one up on the screen. This one's in relation to the previous game, so slightly out of date. But ThorZaIN there on the pain train, on the SCV train, choo-choo and all that. So that's good. Okay, like that one. We've got a couple of others in here as well. Let me just find a couple more, because we have had some really fun ones. Actually, this one's kind of interesting. There's I'm a bit worried about this one though, because there's quite a lot of dead players there, which. Yeah. The worst thing is, right, and you can't see it at the moment because it's down the bottom, but... he's just having a lay down. That's all it is. He's having a lay down. We've also got... let me find this one. This one's quite good. I think Kalaris might like this one. Let's have a look at this. Thanks, Will. Dude. The guy says, Kalaris fan art, my favourite caster. That's what he says. That's not very nice. Kalaris is dissing your drawing. I don't think you should be his fan anymore. I think you should revoke that status immediately. What else do we have? Let me have a quick look here. I quite like this one as well. Let me throw this one up. Let's have a look at this one. SCVs! SCVs everywhere! It's good, yeah, like that one. Okay, we've still got a few more. We've got a bit of time, so I'm going to try and fill. Oh, this one is magical. Let me just sort this one out. You'll like this one. You'll like this one a lot. Let's do that, and let's let's have a look at this one. I'm going to do it full justice. Improved Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition. Laminated, 90% less slippy out of handsy. Resists up to 1.4 red eyes. Undroppable. Extreme levels of red eye may cause droppage. Significant contributions to charity. You're a bad man, Skyen. I know your address and I'm coming to visit you. Right, what else do we have? There's a few more. Oh, this one's quite good as well. I've got 3 more. Let's show you this one. This one's sort of out of date a little bit, but it's okay. Ooh. Where's ThorZaIN? Is he gone? He's there. Yeah. Oh, MC didn't see that. That's probably quite lucky for me. He might kill me. He is the boss toss after all, and all he has to do is stare at me and I would die. Okay, let's find the last couple. Oh yeah, we've got this one as well. I quite like this one. Let's throw this one up. Keep calm and OMG, happy Stardust space rushing. That's sort of in relation to yesterday a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of okay. Got a mild clap, sorry about that. And the last one is... Let me just find this one, because this one's a grubby one. Where's it gone? Oh my goodness. Oh no, hold on. I've got this one as well, which we definitely do need to do this one. Yeah, it took a while. So that one's kind of been busted now, but I like that one. That was in the lead for a little bit until obviously that one got broken. Ah, here it is. Right. Let's see if I can fix this one. I've got to do a bit of imagery jingling. We've seen this one before, but I think it's worth seeing again. That's fantastic. Ladies and gents, the new Sherlock Holmes. Or Grubby Cumberbatch, as he's well known. So anyway, we've got plenty of those coming in. There's still more rolling in. Keep them coming, please do. Thank you so much for your contributions so far. We'll pick out the winner at the end of the evening and award you and send you, free of charge, a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition, not dropped by me, and signed by all the players. So keep the memes coming. We'll check them out. All you have to do is create your pictures, put them on Twitter, include the hashtag #WCS, and make sure while you're at it, follow @StarCraft. And if you feel like you're a Facebook fan, that's okay too. You can go and see them at facebook.com/StarCraft. Quick break. When we come back, we're about to find out which man stays alive in the round of 16. Is it Baby Night or is it MC?